Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How are we doing today on this beautiful Wednesday? This is the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. You're watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. You're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on Amazon. You could subscribe, rate, and review the show right there on Amazon's Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. We'd love to have you jump in and join the show and subscribe to the show right there. Of course, we're a proud part of the BamaCentral Broadcasting Network. We are partnered along with Blue Collar Unplugged. The two of us together as a part of the BamaCentral Broadcasting Network. We appreciate everybody who jumped in and watched us. You could follow BamaCentral at BamaCentral on the X/Twitter machine, at BamaCentral SI on Instagram, at Alabama Crimson Tide on Sports Illustrated on Facebook, and of course follow Blue Collar Unplugged on all the other podcasting platforms I just mentioned. Okay, we've had a fun week so far already. Look, Monday was all about the SEC championship. If you want to go back and listen to that, we broke down the SEC championship. Alabama Crimson Tide crashes in the college football playoff. Whew, what a busy, fun weekend it was. Look, I was in Coleman Coliseum on Tuesday. We'll finish the show talking about Alabama's win over Arkansas State. But first, we're going to have a fun Wednesday. Yes, I'm sorry, I took my Tuesday off day, but we're going to have a fun Wednesday talking to Myles Upchurch. Myles Upchurch is a junior pitcher out of Maryland, and he is committed to the University of Alabama. So you can follow him at Myles_U1 on the Twitter/X machine and on Instagram. Follow him at Myles Upchurch 2025. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It says that's an old account. Follow him at _Myles11. Excuse me, on the Instagram machine. And Myles, how we doing today, sir? Great to see you.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Doing pretty well, man. How's your Wednesday going? You ready for our Christmas? You getting ready for the end of the semester?
Yes, sir. Just got out of school here, so I'm just chilling, and there's no practice here today. It's really cold outside of Maryland, so I can tell you that.
Well, tell us about Odenton, Maryland. Maryland on the map, it's between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. So are you a Ravens fan, or are you a Commanders fan, or neither? Or just tell us a little bit about Odenton, Maryland. You eating crab legs every day?
All right, so Odenton's a very, very small city. Lots of good baseballs. People in the Northeast, we're really underlooked. I think we have the best talent. Could be biased, but I am a Ravens fan. I'm a little bit closer to Baltimore than I am DC. I go to school in DC though. I go to St. Albans School. Really good baseball team. I love my coach. But yeah, and about the crabs. See, I don't know how to eat crabs, and and everyone else in Maryland does. So it kind of gets a little embarrassing sometimes. But I'll learn one day. Maybe not. Oh, well.
You'll get there one day when the Orioles draft you and make you a Major League Baseball superstar. You'll have to learn that at that time.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So Myles Upchurch, you just committed to the University of Alabama, and you told me that you committed to Alabama over Texas, Texas A&M, Georgia, Tennessee, Wake Forest. You had the who's who coming after you. I've got you. Look, baseball recruiting is a little bit tough to follow due to just kind of the nature of the beast. But through Perfect Game and Prep Baseball, a couple different recruiting websites. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've got you at 6'4", 215 pounds, pitcher, inside, infielder, utility guy. Just tell me a little bit about your game, and let's talk about your recruitment after that. Tell me about your game and were those numbers correct? 6'4", 215, and right-handed pitcher / utility guy.
Yes, sir. So yeah, that's exactly what I am. I'm 6'4", 215. I've been in the weight room a lot, grown a little bit, so I'm happy to be that size.
Absolutely.
And, I definitely say I'm a pitcher first before I am anything else. I like pitching better than anything else. I think it's more fun. I think it's fun controlling and dominating a game. I'd say it, leave it like that. Therefore, I can hit. I won't be hitting in college. I won't be hitting in professional, but I can hit in high school. I tell you that. So it's just a thing I can have fun with. Don't have to take anything too seriously while hitting. But my pitching is something that I really enjoy doing because I'm really good at it. And I think the main thing I like to do is just attack hitters, no matter what the count is, just go right after them. And, whatever happens type of mindset. So, yeah, I think that's what all the coaching staff, Coach JJ and Coach Vaughn really like. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So prep baseball has you down at 93, 94 miles an hour right now. Is kind of your tip top for your fastball. You're still a junior in high school. You still got another year of development before you come to the college ranks. Is the fastball the go-to, or look, is it still a little too early to be slinging the slider? What's kind of your pitching mindset? You talk about attacking the batters when you're at the mound and you got it, 0-0 count. What's your thought process?
0-0 count, I'm going fastball right down the middle. A lot of people don't know this. I've actually learned this from Coach JJ. Fastball down the middle, 94% chance it's good. It's something good's going to happen in the pitcher's favor. So that's what I'm going with. But I throw 4 pitches, 4-seam fastball, changeup, slider, curveball. I'd say my best pitch is my changeup. Surprisingly, nobody knows that. But, yeah, it's definitely my best pitch. It's my strikeout pitch. Hopefully nobody in my conference sees that. And so I think that's it.
Well, tell me about the life of an elite baseball player, because I'm reading also that you are a football player and basketball player as well, played quarterback at St. Albans and played on the basketball team as well. So it takes a lot to get into college recruiting. Obviously, it starts at a young age. It starts at a young age. You got to get on the college radar. And so it kind of goes around like 8th grade, 7th, 8th, 9th grade. So tell me what it takes, what it's taken for you, maybe a sacrifice or two that you made in your life to maybe get to these college radars. Obviously, we're happy to have you coming to Tuscaloosa here in 2 years, but just kind of some of the things that you've had to do in order to get to this place.
Well, yeah, I think my mom and my dad a lot. They make probably more sacrifices than I ever did. But I think as a young player, like, I think it's like they get a little too caught up in like baseball all the time, and a little rush, you see everybody committing early and all that. You get a little rush sometimes. So I think my dad and mom really did a good job of like instilling in me playing multiple sports is definitely the best thing. Like this fall, I didn't touch a baseball. Like, it's just probably best for me. So things like that, like that sacrifice that like, you want to play so bad, like fall ball, like in Florida, like it's fun. Like you want to play, but like, it's probably not the best for me right now. But recruiting wise, I was in freshman year, Coach Vaughn, Coach Papio, Coach Morrison, even Coach Swope at Maryland right now. They've all came to see me ever since then. And I mean, it's like a family reunion every time I talk to them, and like it just flows so well. So it just worked out the best out of any place.
Yeah, that's a perfect transition. Obviously, you're from Odenton, Maryland, right there in between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. And we all know Rob Vaughn coming into his first year here at Alabama from Maryland. I'm just making assumptions that those recruiting connections kind of came from. I was at Maryland. We were doing some big things there. Now I'm coming to Alabama. Hey, man, this is pretty cool down here as well. What was that transition like from Rob Vaughn pitching Maryland to now Rob Vaughn pitching Alabama?
Honestly, it was pretty much the same. Like it was just the same people, new place. Like we didn't really talk about like all the big fancy things you guys have at Bama, because everybody knows you got them, but we didn't have that at UMD. And so to me, that wasn't really something I was actually like looking for when going through my process. I mean, I've been to all these visits. It was all great. I loved all the coaches, but
how stressful was the visits? How stressful was it being out there and stuff?
Oh my, it was awesome. He was eating at 5-star restaurants. Like it's honestly awesome. But the thing that probably felt best for me with Bama was probably the comfort with the coaches. I know I would be led the right way and developed the best way at Bama. So, that's the decision I made.
You already told us that Rob Vaughn has taught you a little bit about the down the middle fastball. Jason Jackson. Excuse me, Jason Jackson. And so my question is about Jason Jackson, adding him into that recruiting fold. You are being recruited by Rob Vaughn and his staff, and then they kind of pivot to Alabama, and they've got Jason Jackson. What about Jason Jackson and what he's added to maybe your recruitment?
I mean, I think everything about Jason Jackson, you can kind of look it up and know he's legit. Even down there, he was taking me back to the airport after my visit. And we were talking about his son playing flag football. Like, he's a family guy, really humble, and he was just a nice guy to talk to. But he knows what he's talking about. So I really like Jason, Coach Jackson, on that aspect of it.
What's your thoughts on camo hats? You know, Alabama's been rocking the camo hats for almost a little over a year, almost a year now.
Yeah, me personally, my favorite are the pinstripes.
Yeah.
I like the camo though. I like the camo. I think it adds something. I think you could add a little camo shirt, camo pants, and also be cool. But the camo hat is just one step, maybe a little future ad.
We'll see if we can work it in by the time you get here. You talk about Alabama being a family atmosphere. Tell me about your family. You've already complimented mom and dad for sacrifices they made. Are you an only child? Do you have a big family, small family? Tell me a little bit about what your family dynamic is.
Yeah, so my mom, she's from West Virginia, big West Virginia Mountaineer fan. And she played softball, all state, all that. She didn't play in college. She went to go to West Virginia to go cheer. And my dad, he's from this area, but he went to West Virginia to go play football. And he's got some, I don't know, award down there that I have no clue because
It's all
I
good.
just don't know. I'm not from there. So, there's a little hitch in that stream. But my brother, so it's just me, my mom, my brother, and my dad. And my brother goes to West Virginia there too. But yeah, I was a Maryland kid, so things are a little different with me. But yeah, my dad comes from football. That's why I think he encouraged me to play multiple sports. He sees like the different advantages you gain from playing multiple sports. But yeah,
what do you think some of the advantages that you gain for playing quarterback and playing basketball that help you with your future baseball career?
I think it keeps like a competitive energy in you. Like, you always want to win. Like, you don't like to lose. I think that's the main thing, but also like that leadership role that you have to take playing quarterback is something that, like, it doesn't just leave you after you're done playing. So I think that's a big thing. Like, I'm a junior this year, and I consider myself a leader. I've been playing varsity baseball on this team for 3 years now. So I think I'm a leader on the team, and I think a lot of that comes from playing football. So,
what's your leadership style? I mean, obviously you're very, very talented, so guys look to you to lead them because of your talent. But maybe are you a vocal guy, or are you just kind of a hey, watch what I do and follow me? What's the Myles Upchurch leadership style?
see, I think I'm less vocal. I mean, I'm not quiet, but I think I'm more vocal in a way of like, let's pay attention here, or like kind of keeping guys on the right track.
Cool.
But I think it's more like a leader on the field type of thing instead of a leader like vocally. Like, I'm not yelling at guys because they're being goofballs. I'm showing them how they're supposed to act. So I think there's different types of ways you can lead, and some guys are some way, some guys are other. But I think on my team, there's definitely that enforcer guy, and I think he's great to have.
Somebody's got to be that guy. So it's good for you to sometimes do that. You've committed to Alabama over schools like Texas, Texas A&M, Tennessee. Yeah, thank you for doing that. Georgia as well. So talk to me about, like, all right, you're in your junior year. You're gonna have a whole nother season and a half of playing high school baseball. Are you locked into Alabama, or are the recruitment going to kind of stay open, or is it just we'll kind of see you in Tuscaloosa over the next year and a half whenever we can see you? What's going to be kind of where does the college recruitment stand for Myles Upchurch?
Oh, it's definitely done.
Done.
I'm not.
We like that. Go Tag.
Yeah. I chose a place where I want to be. I'm fairly set on that place, so I'm just ready to go down there. One of my best friends is also from Maryland. Just flipped there too. So yeah, we should have a good time. Will Ryan.
Will Ryan? Well, tell us about him. What's he gonna bring to Alabama?
So he's a like a lengthy shortstop, about 6'3", bats from the left side, and he can move, he can throw, he can field, and he's just an overall good player, good leader. Like I said, he's one of those guys that are also quiet but like leads on the field. So just a funny guy. He's really funny. So he's a good person to be around.
Obviously, you never know how college turnover is going to go. But right now, Alton Davis and Riley Quick, both premier pitchers for Alabama. What do you see out of those guys, and what has maybe have you had any sort of conversations with them, or what do you think that those guys do really well that maybe you could take from their game?
I didn't meet the other guy, but I met Alton Davis when I was down there, and he was actually my host. So
okay, yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah. So he was a very high energy guy. I think I like that about his game. You know, it's really high energy. He likes to go out there and dominate and finish those last 3 outs, which takes a special type of guy to do that. And I think the thing I really took out of him, was his he has like a dog mentality where he doesn't care who he's playing or where he's at. He's going to go out there and do the job. So I think that was my favorite thing to talk to him about.
We love Alton Davis. We're looking forward to seeing what he will do this year, whether he's going to be the closer again or whether he's going to assume more of a starter. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what Rob Bond or Jason Jackson ends up doing with him this year, but he's highly talented. A lot of fun to watch. To watch. Let's talk about the MLB draft. A lot of times elite high school players get drafted. I am not as up on the draft prospects of sorts, but is that on your radar, or are you dead set on I'm going to college, I'm going to go at least 3 years in college, maybe the 4th year, we'll see what happens, and then deal with the draft after college?
That's a good question. It's on my radar, definitely on my radar. I mean, I have a goal. And my goal is
everybody wants to go pro. We want you to as well.
Yeah, so it's definitely on my radar. But that being said, I can only control what I can control. So, I mean, I don't see a problem going to college. I don't see a problem with going pro. So, I'm for whatever. But yeah.
Have you been to Tuscaloosa before you committed, or was it just because of your relationship with Coach Vaughn and Coach Jackson and Coach Vaughn's staff that you committed? And if you have been to Tuscaloosa, the next question is, what did you like about the city or the town?
Well, I went there on my visit, but I wasn't committed yet on my visit, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Well, the city itself, it surprised me because I haven't been there prior. And it was very clean. The campus was beautiful. But the best thing, I gotta say, it's the food. The food was amazing. But yeah, I also like the stadium, the baseball stadium.
It's beautiful.
Grass. Yeah. I heard it's pretty brand new, so should be good.
Yeah, I believe, what was it? Goodness gracious, Myles. I think it was 2014 when it was finished. 2010 when it was finished, sometime in that range. They totally overhauled it. Sometime, I think it was 2010, 2014, somewhere in between that 4-year span. Now I'm making myself out to be a fool, but sometime during that 4-year span that it was renovated, and it's beautiful now.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. Well, Myles, what should Alabama fans be looking for over the next year and a half as you are working your way through St. Albans and you're working your way through Maryland? How can we support you, or maybe what are things that you're interested outside of athletics that we can kind of get to know you on?
Like my hobbies. I'd say I'm really into golf now. I like going golf a lot with my friends. Video games, gotta stay kid somehow. You gotta be a kid somehow.
Sure.
But yeah, I think recently I've kind of picked up golf. I'm always trying to go top golf or just on a course. But I'm pretty simple. I mean, baseball, be good. You gotta kind of have to take up most of your time, especially with school. So you can only like too many things. Only a certain amount. But yeah, I think those are my main 2 things right now that I'm kind of if I wasn't doing baseball, I'd definitely doing these 2 things. But yeah.
I love golf. I'm terrible at it. I'll take you out to any course around town, but I'll be holding you back on your speed. You'll probably be like, "Golly, this guy stinks."
I'm not good, but I like it. I like it.
Well, we're still getting to know Coach Rob Vaughn here in Tuscaloosa. Do you have any? You've developed a relationship with him for a little bit of time. Do you have any funny recruiting stories or anything off the wall that he made anything that he might have said at a meal, or fun, interesting eating habits that he has, or just anything that we can get a little peek of the mind of the man that is Rob Vaughn?
You might get mad at me for this one. So yeah, previously, like the recruiting shutdown, I couldn't talk to him a lot. So beforehand, I've talked to him a bunch of times, but beforehand, it was always in like kind of group settings with
Sure.
all the other commits. But like most of like my one-on-one time came on that visit. So it was he had just offered me, and so like we're going out, we're about to go visit. Oh no, we're about to go to the game where they played Ole Miss. And my dad, he goes, "Man, Coach Vaughn is really short, isn't he?" I was like, "Dad, not really." And then like my dad went up to Coach Vaughn. He was like, "Coach Vaughn, Myles said you're really short." Coach Vaughn turns it on and says, "Say that again, your offer's gone." He's like really satirical, and it's kind of just like a funny like family type of thing. Even Coach Mo is like a really Southern funny guy. So can't wait till I
We've
get down.
enjoyed getting to know them a little bit over the fall ball season. We were out there watching them play Florida State and Auburn, and those are good times. So I think that, what do I know? But I think that he really has a big time passion. I think he's going to take this program, to that next step forward. We're really looking forward to having you be a part of that, Myles. Make sure everybody who's watching this follows Myles Upchurch at Myles_U1 on the Twitter/X machine. Myles, let's get you out of here on some real easy stuff. What do you think about the college football playoff? Alabama in the playoff. Give me some football talk. Give the people what they want. What do you think about this Alabama football season, my man?
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but growing up, I've always been a Maryland and Alabama fan. My grandparents are from Alabama, so I've always rooted for Bama. So here's the thing: Florida State should have not made it. They're not a top 4 team, and maybe if they had their backup, not the true freshman, but their backup, you can argue that maybe, or if they blew out, would they play Louisville? In the ACC championship. No, it was a close game. They didn't blow them out. That's the first reason. I'm gonna just keep going down the list. Second reason is Alabama has the best win in college football. Third reason is if you put Texas in it, you have to put Alabama in it. Or if you don't, you have to leave both of them out. That's my only argument. So, but I don't think any logical person can really say that Alabama is not a top 4 team without saying Florida State is 13 though. But who did they really play? So there's that. That's my take.
You look at LSU, or you look at Florida State. Their best win is against LSU, which is Alabama's 3rd best win. The quality of the SEC reigns supreme again. And let me ask you about that. You're about to step into, look, everybody talks about Alabama and SEC football, but goodness gracious, SEC baseball, man, it's the real deal. You're pumped up to compete weekend in and weekend out against the Ole Misses and the LSUs and Mississippi States and Arkansas and Texas and Oklahoma. It's going to be a beast, my guy.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's dogs everywhere. And so my mom has always told me, like, they put on the pants the same way you do. Like, I mean, you can only be so good. And like, I'm right here. You can be right here, but we're really, really not, really not the same when it comes to mindset. So I'd go against anybody and not be scared. So I'm excited to play there. I know crazy fan bases can be nice to play against, and I'm excited.
Absolutely. Rob Vaughn wouldn't have recruited you if you weren't quality and
Yeah,
worthy of playing in the SEC. So I wasn't trying to say that. I was just saying that the competition is going to be high every single week. You get,
yeah.
you get the best of the best for sure every single week. Well, my man, I'm really looking forward to following your career, the rest of your junior year at St. Albans, and then obviously your senior year as well. We're going to keep in touch, hopefully, throughout the rest of your high school career. What video game you playing lately, or are you really just counting down the days till NCAA football comes out next summer?
I see. I'm excited for that game, but I've been playing a lot of like MLB The Show, some Madden, and a little Fortnite action. Not as much anymore, but mainly The Show.
You a Nationals or Orioles guy, or somebody else entirely?
I'm just both. Like when it comes to baseball, I just kind of root for the teams around me, but mainly
Luckily,
Orioles.
they're in different divisions, so they don't play much. They don't play each other much.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
mainly Orioles, but yeah, cheer for
Orioles have
both.
had a long time waiting to be as good as they were this past year.
Oh yeah,
So,
we're definitely excited down here.
hey, good for them. I got a couple buddies who are Orioles fans, and they say, "Oh man, they a couple years ago they were like we didn't even pay attention to the team, and now they're a lot of fun to
It
watch."
was bad. Like the stadium would get like really empty. Like you could hear echoes. Like it was really bad. But
Where's your favorite place to watch a game so far? Obviously, you haven't been everywhere, but where's your favorite place to watch a game so far in your baseball watching and enjoying career?
I went to San Diego for area code, and I really like the Padre Stadium. um, but I did go to the 2019 World Series when Nationals were in it, and that was electric. So it's a toss-up, but I think I'm going to have to go with the World Series game. But yeah.
Bro, understandable. We'll try to get the
Yeah.
Joe rocking and rolling like that World Series game by the time you get down here, man. Myles, thank you so much for joining me, and tell everybody where they can follow you or how anything else that you want to promote, anything that they can support you on. And man, this has been a blast. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we enjoy it. Roll Tide, my man.
Yeah, thank you. So my Instagram is, I think it's _Myles11. And my Twitter is Myles_U1. So thank you, everybody, for having me.
Absolutely. It's Myles Upchurch joining us on a Wednesday. Make sure you follow him at Myles_U1 on the Twitter machine. And make sure you follow him on the Instagram as well at _Myles11. We appreciate him. We're looking forward to it. Class of 2025 pitcher joins us right here on the Joe Gaither Show. Recruited by Rob Vaughn in Maryland. Transitions to the University of Alabama. And he already knows what's up. Talking all kinds of mess to Florida State and supporting the football team. You want to support Myles Upchurch at Myles_U1. He's a junior at St. Albans, and he's committed to the University of Alabama. All right, so let's close this bad boy out, but let's talk basketball. We haven't talked basketball. We weren't on yesterday. I enjoyed my off day, and I am currently going through my rewatch of the Georgia game. So if you guys are looking for that things that I noticed, it's going to be on the BamaCentral cover tomorrow morning, and I really can't wait for you guys to enjoy that because the Georgia-Alabama game, oh my gosh, there was so many tactical, schematical things that really Georgia should be ashamed of themselves. And we'll get into that as the program continues. Probably tomorrow after the things that I noticed drops. It'll be on the cover probably 6 a.m. tomorrow on BamaCentral.com. I'm already halfway through the second half, and Georgia's offense is riddled with patterns, with tendencies, with all kinds of repeat plays. But I digress. We're talking basketball. Alabama beats Arkansas State on Monday, 89-65 in Coleman Coliseum. And all right, it's great. You get back in the winning column after losing Clemson. And you're really, really happy. Couple of different things that I want to hit off the top. First, I had a tweet that went a little, I don't want to say viral because, you got to get further than where I got to get viral. And, I appreciate the 3 or 4 or 5 listeners that I have. But a tweet got picked up and went a little further, got a little more attention than I'm used to. We'll say that. Got a little more attention than I'm used to. A tweet from the media section, sitting in the media section of Coleman Coliseum with 2 minutes until the national anthem went off, taking a photo of the crowd in Coleman Coliseum. Oh, yeah. Look, I'm just going to break the fourth wall here, and I'll tell you, I love Alabama basketball. I like Alabama basketball. I love Alabama basketball more than I like Alabama football. I wish that we at Alabama had 15,000 people in Coleman Coliseum, all 16 home games of the year. I understand that is not realistic. I understand that basketball is never going to be football. It's never going to be the king, and that's fine. That is A-okay. That's why football usually carries this show. And if you want more football, you can go back to Monday's show. We already did some we did some baseball today. We're going off the cuff today, baseball and basketball. But look, no, I love Alabama basketball. I want the butts to be in the seats. Look, everybody wants to cry and bleep and moan about a new arena. Everybody wants to complain about Greg Byrne. Build me a new arena, Greg Byrne. What are you doing, Greg Byrne? Go build me. Go get bricks in the mud. Go get bricks in the mud. Break ground on a new arena. Build me an arena with 9,000 seats, 10,000 seats, and the students close to the floor. Give us a place to enjoy. No, look. If I'm Greg Byrne, I see what happened on Monday night, and I know the reported attendance was 9,000 people. There weren't 9,000 people. There might have been 9,000 tickets bought, but it was not half full. And so that was disappointing. To see on Monday. Look, I don't know it's Arkansas State, and I know it's Monday, and I know people talk about it's dead week, and the students are studying. Here's the deal. Look, I was a student, albeit at some points a good student, at some points a bad student. I will be honest with one another. But here's the deal. You get 16 home basketball games this season. Well, you had 16. You burned, five of them? So you're down to 11 is what it is. You're down to 11 home games. If this were football, you had these seven home games this year, 8 home games this year. You plan for those 8 home games a year. You make plans Saturday, November 4th at, LSU's coming to town. We're all not going to do anything. We're not going to Aunt so-and-so's birthday party. We're going to Bryant-Denny Stadium. We're not going to, the pumpkin patch. We are sitting around on the couch and watching Alabama football. And granted, you might have been sitting on the couch and watching Alabama basketball on Monday. But for the people who cry and moan about, we need a new arena, show up. Show up and force their hand. Show Greg. Look, the effort. Oh, it was ugly. Now, granted, I know Arkansas State not a good team, but aren't we supposed to welcome back former assistant coach Brian Hodgson into the building and give him a rousing thank you for your service as we kick his team's butt? Highly disappointed with the outcome and the people showing up for this basketball team. Look, I know they lost to Clemson. I know that they had lost 2 out of 3. They lost to Ohio State. They lost to Clemson, and they had broken a home unbeaten streak. I know. I get it. It's disappointing. But do you want to support this basketball team, or do you just want to have Twitter fingers and complain about a new arena online? This basketball program can't get past the Sweet 16. This basketball program always builds you up to let you down. This basketball program needs a new arena. Coleman Coliseum's a dump. Do you want to just complain on Twitter, or do you want to actually support the program and show – look, the tickets were cheap. I looked online. The tickets were dirt cheap. You could have been in there Monday night for $2. And really, look, yeah, you got the empty arena is one thing. The percentage was not that good. It was probably 40%, 35, 45% full on Monday night. But Look, you can make it look more full if you allow everybody to move down closer to the court at some point, like you do in the women's game. But at some point, you've got it under 16, under 12 timeout, and the people are kind of settling into their seats. I don't want to move down 10 rows. I just want to see more butts in the seat. And with Alabama basketball's upcoming schedule, I think it's going to be a little difficult to get those butts into the seats. Alabama playing on Saturday in Canada. Obviously, we cannot really talk about the attendance in Canada and be fair than playing at Creighton, at Arizona. Your next opportunity is going to be December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas at 3:00 against Eastern Kentucky. Do you think the airplane hangar is going to be empty on that afternoon? Yikes, I do. I think that you're going to have a very bad crowd for the Eastern Kentucky game, and that's disappointing to me because let's say you go 2 out of 3. Let's say you win 2 out of these next 3. Yeah, that would be a feat, in my opinion. That would be a feat. But you win 2 out of these next 3. You should be coming home to a hero's welcome against that Eastern Kentucky game because you're going to smack Eastern Kentucky. That's right before conference play gets going. You should be coming home to a hero's welcome. Instead, they're going to be coming home to basically an empty arena. And everybody's saying, oh, shoot more mid-range, get more layups. Ah, you're shooting too many threes. Oh, yeah. All right. So as far as the basketball actually goes on the floor on Monday, it was fine. It was okay. I mean, all right. In the first half, the defense was much better. The first half, you averaged what? 0.74, 0.75 points per possession defensively. Now, here's the thing. You got to take into account Arkansas State is not very good. Arkansas State is rebuilding, obviously, because they just fired Brian Hodgson, or just fired a coach to hire Brian Hodgson. New coach, transition. They're not very good. We did Arkansas State, a favor by having them into Coleman Coliseum, plain and simple, because we love Brian Hodgson. They're not very good. I don't really want to take a whole lot away from this game. He scored 89 points. That's great. Grant Nelson got himself a little dinged up in the leg. That's no good. It says he's going to be okay for Saturday's matchup against Purdue. Look, I don't really want to take anything away from this past week, from Monday night's game. Because, yeah, you won 25 points, 24 and a half points was the line. Amazing how that falls for the gamblers out there. Don't gamble on sports unless you can afford it because you will lose. But no, Alabama, you don't want to take anything away from this Arkansas State game because, look, in the second half, the defense was not as good as the first half. And that second half defense is indicative of the effort that you've had throughout the whole year, in my opinion. And, yeah, you didn't have Nick Pringle. Nick Pringle is serving an in-house suspension. I know apparently he's going to be back for the game on Saturday. But the Tide, you've got to have – look, what we know by now, 7-8 games into the season, Alabama 6-2? Yeah, 8 games into the season. 8 games into the season, we know Alabama's offense is dadgum good, is really good. Alabama's offense can shoot the lights out and can shoot with anyone in probably the country. The issue is going to be on the defensive side of the floor. And if you have nights where, oh my gosh, we cannot get to 89 points, we cannot get to 101, we cannot get to 93 points, we cannot get to 98 points. You have nights where the defense lets you down and the offensive shot doesn't fall. Well, I'm sorry, that sounds like a Texas A&M recipe, a Tennessee recipe. That sounds like an Auburn recipe for these conference opponents who will beat you up and slow you down and try to guard you very, very closely and who will know your stuff, know your sets. Going to have to improve on the defensive side of the floor if you're Alabama basketball still. And I know you fell out of the top 25, losing to Clemson. And I know beating Arkansas State on Monday is a little bit of a confidence booster. But on Saturday, you're playing Purdue, which is going to be a huge, huge matchup. And, yeah, you are playing in Canada, so it's going to be a bit of a neutral site matchup. But it's a huge one, in my opinion. It's a huge one for Alabama to at least stay competitive. If you lose, all right. If you lose, okay. But you got to stay competitive with the Boilermakers, and you've got to stay out of foul trouble with Zach Edey, defend him as a team, defend him as a unit. We will obviously talk about that as we get closer and closer to Saturday. All right, so what are we going to do the last little bit? I've been just at my wits' end with the college football playoff over the last really 2.5, 3 days. First off, Alabama getting in, Florida State being out. We talked about it a bit on Monday, but I'm just going to pontificate a little bit more and bore you a little bit more. First, before we do that, we really appreciate Myles Upchurch joining us in this episode. If you missed any of that conversation, you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon, or watch it again on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. We appreciate Myles Upchurch, 2025 Alabama baseball pitcher. You can follow him on Twitter at Myles_U1. He's going to be slinging that thing for the Crimson Tide here in just a couple of years. All right, so look, Sunday came and went. All the debate came and went, and I realized that even, the social media debate, Alabama doesn't deserve to be in. Look, Alabama, the SEC champion, was always going to be in. The SEC champion was always going to be in. So everybody who's upset, everyone who's unhappy with Alabama getting into the playoff field needs to take a step back and realize, are you just unhappy because it's Alabama, or do you actually think they don't deserve it? Because here's the deal. If you think they don't deserve it, I question your ability to evaluate college football, specifically with the strength, specifically related to the strength of the SEC over the last 17, 20 years of college football. You've had the SEC participate in 16 of the last 18 national championship games. Now, they didn't win all 16 of them, but at least participated in 16 of the last 18 national championship games. And that's not even to count the two national championship games where the SEC played itself. Here's the deal. You want to say they didn't deserve it? You don't know football. You want to say, oh, we don't like it, we don't like you, or you weren't undefeated. Like, here's the deal. The SEC champion, whether it was Georgia at 13-0 and the number 1 overall seed, or whether it was Alabama at 12-1 at the number 4 overall seed, was always going to get into the college football playoff. Was always going to get in. Your beef, your Florida State and Texas beef was with each other. It was with Texas. Your Florida State didn't get in beef. It's not with Alabama. It's with Texas. Texas, gets in because Alabama gets in. Alabama wins. The Texas win looks better. Florida State is left out. And I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry. There were 5 schools that earned their way into the college football playoff. There were. In Florida State, you did earn a spot. But the deal was, it's an invitational. People have been saying that all along. It's an invitation. It is an invitational. And the invitors didn't think that you could win the invitational because of what's happened with your quarterback position. And I'm sorry, it sucks. It's awful luck. But Alabama, the SEC champion, was always going to be, and you could say, oh, it's ESPN politics. Of course it's ESPN politics. The SEC has proven to be a money maker over the last 20 years. Of course the SEC champion is going to be in the college football playoff. You saw, 17 million people watch the SEC championship this past weekend? More than any of the other league championships combined? Okay, of course the champion's going to be in. Now, if your champion were an 8-3 Alabama, were an 8-4 Alabama, that's a little bit different. You can cry and complain about that. But when it's a 12-1 Alabama who just beat the number 1 team in the country, who is undefeated in conference play, riding an 11-game winning streak, who's beaten LSU, Ole Miss, who's beaten Tennessee, who's beaten, laid them out, knocked them down. And of course, okay, you want to talk about you lost at home to Texas week number 2, you still lost. You still had the 1. Here's the deal. The SEC champion was always getting in. It's always getting in. The reserve spot, you're going to have one. You're never going to have it. Look, have you ever had a playoff without an SEC team in it? It wasn't going to be the first, and you weren't going to put Georgia in after losing on Saturday and really losing wire to wire outside of the first initial touchdown, losing wire to wire. So look, everybody complaining, everybody crying. Of course, Florida State got left out because of politics. Florida State got left out because the ACC is disrespected amongst all of the 5 power conferences. Right now, the ACC is seen as arguably the least powerful. Florida State got disrespected because Mike Norvell is a third-year head coach, is still early in his tenure at Florida State and not really a dynamic figure. Florida State got disrespected because their quarterback broke his leg and an unfortunate accident. Florida State got left out because they can't score points against the Texases, can't score points with the Washingtons, can't score points against the Alabamas of the world. And you could say, oh, you don't know that, Joe. Any given Saturday, you don't know that. No, I do know that. I do know that because I've seen them play Louisville, who lost to Kentucky, who also lost to Alabama 49-21. And I know the transitive property doesn't really apply apples to apples, but it is still the same fruit. Alabama would kick the crud out of Florida State. So would Texas. So would Washington. I don't know about Michigan because I think Michigan is kind of fraudulent. But we will find out about that going forward. Look, that's going to do it for our program today. I really appreciate Myles Upchurch joining me on the show today. Class of 2025 pitcher out of Maryland, talking about his relationship with Rob Vaughn and, telling us a funny Rob Vaughn story. We really appreciate Myles joining us on the show. You can follow him at Myles_U1 and go tell him big old roll tide. Tell him you're excited about him coming to join the Crimson Tide. And yeah, that's going to do it for our show today. We want to encourage you to subscribe, rate, and review the show at on Amazon, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, whatever your podcast platform of choice is, or you can do it at BamaCentral's YouTube channel. You can do that at Joe Gaither 6 on Twitter or Facebook. Go ahead and send me a friend request and follow all the shows right there. You can do it on Instagram or Snapchat as well. That is the social media hashtag or social media handle for all the social medias at Joe Gaither 6. We're a proud part of the BamaCentral Broadcasting Network podcast, where we want you to subscribe to Blue Collar Unplugged. Matthew Gibson, Blake Byler, and Jacob Pickle, the president. They're going to get you ready for Alabama's trip to Canada to play Purdue. And we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.